Good morning and welcome to the book of Deuteronomy. Shabbat Shalom. What a study this will be, the book of Deuteronomy. The name comes actually from the Septuagint, two words combined together, Deutero and Nomos, the Lord a second time. I just want to explain this to you. When they came out of Egypt, that generation that, as you might recall, refused to go into the promised land, actually had perished in the desert. So we have a new generation here who need to hear the word that is the law of God themselves. Deuteronomy was written by Moses. It makes up the fifth book of the 5 books of the Pentateuch. And it is definitely written by Moses. All scholars concur and agree. The book of Deuteronomy is fantastic. It permeates the whole of the Old Testament. It permeates, I put it to you, the whole of the New Testament. And us as a spiritual Israel right at the end time, it very much applies to us. And so the name of, or the Hebrew words for the book of the covenant is Sefer Berit, HaBerit. And that means that this is the agreement that God has with His people. The location of the talk, because it is Moses that is speaking here, the location is on the plains of Moab. They look out over the Jordan Valley, and what a view that would have been. They can see the Jordan Valley. They can see the wooded sides of the mighty river at the time, a mighty river Jordan. You gotta bear in mind it is in the spring, northern hemisphere. The river is swollen, turbulent. It's an impressive river. So they have to cross a very active, dominant river. What is interesting is they can see on the other side the city of Jericho. You know, there is a spiritual meaning here. You have to get across the river Jordan, and then you still have to deal with Jericho. There is actually a tremendous message in that. And so they can see the promised land. They have been looking forward to the promised land. They're about to enter the promised land, and there Moses gives them the law, the conditions. It's a covenant relationship. And so the Hebrew title, These Are the Words, is really the name of the book of Deuteronomy. Ele Hadivarim means really, these are the sayings. And of course, these are the sayings of Moses to the people there of Israel. You got to understand, Moses loved his people. The man who's giving the address is actually giving his farewell address. He has been told he won't go into the land. Hard to take, but that's what God said. He won't be able to go in. But here is a man who would have foregone his own salvation for the sake of the people that he loved. They gave him a hard time, but he loved them. And they knew it. And they knew also they had given him a hard time. And so Moses appeals to the people. He appeals to the people that they would live the life that God wanted them to live. That the condition of going into the promised land, and for that matter staying in the promised land, is conditional upon their conduct and their willingness to live by the laws that God has given them. And he uses the historical facts. He uses that as a groundwork for that exhortation, obey and live. Israel's love and gratitude for God should be there because God had taken care of them all so well. He had shown His love to them in His provisions for them all these 40 years. And they were to be God's chosen people. They were God's example, if you like. They were the example to the rest of the world. It was important that they lived the life that God wanted them to live, so He could bless them, attract all the other nations, and that the other nations would come to this Hebrew people and say, "Can you tell us about your God?" The book of Deuteronomy is the keystone of the Hebrew religious devotion. Their whole life was tied up with the knowledge of the book of Deuteronomy. It was meant to be read every 7 years in total, publicly, and people were to study it bit by bit. And they were to share it with their children. And so, here is the man loving his people, representing a God who loved this people. And so the parallels here, compared to us, are enormous. Because here they are at the border of the promised land. But hey, so are we, aren't we? Jesus is coming soon. We are at the borders of the promised land too. And the same conditions that were prevailing at the time for them to take the promised land and to remain in the promised land is the same for us today, is to obey and live. God is love, that is true. God is love. But when you look at the call of Abram, when you look at the ancient Israel and the patience of God with ancient Israel, He showed what a wonderful God He is, so readily forgives and redirects His people, restores His people. But from Lucifer's rebellion right to the time that you and I live in, we can see God's acts in history. God is also righteous. And so for us, we should study the book of Deuteronomy. You will be blessed. Really, you will be blessed if you do, because Deuteronomy was written for you and me as well. God bless you.